Greetings, traveler. Come closer, have a seat. Warm yourself by the fire. You came here to hear a story, eh? Well, I have few that we can share. Today, I'll tell the story of creation, one that originated in the lands of Norsemen. Until the beginning of the time, there was nothing. No earth, no heavens, no stars, no sky, only void, which bore the two elements, ice and fire. The first world to exist was Muspelheim, realm of fire, light and heat. In this world everything was burning endlessly. There was neither solid ground nor sky here, only sparks and tongues of flames, hot stones and smoldering embers. In Muspelheim, on the edge of the flames, stood Skald, eternal guardian of primordial fire. Nice, cheerful fellow, but a short temper makes it hard to settle a flame. It is said that only when Ragnarok, the end of the world, arrives, Skald will leave Muspelheim with a fire sword in his hand and burn the world with fire, and all the gods shall fall one by one before him. In the north was Niflheim, the world of darkness. If Muspelheim was bright and filled with flames, Niflheim was filled with shades of grey, a realm of fog and frost, where primordial ice prevailed. 11 poisonous rivers ran through it, from the source in the center of the world, a violet vortex under the name of Ymir. Between Muspelheim and Niflheim lay an abyss, an empty, shapeless void, where the rivers of the frozen kingdom fell. The chasm was called Ginnungagap, or yawning void. For incomprehensibly long time, these poisonous rivers gradually solidified in space between fire and ice, forming giant glaciers. In the north of the abyss, the ice was covered with frozen mist and icy winds. From the south, where glaciers reached the kingdom of fire, the ice collided with the embers and sparks of Muspelheim, and warm winds from the realm of flames made air above the ice so gentle and pleasant as that of a spring day. The glaciers were melted where ice and fire met, and life in the whirling waters was born. It was a creature in human form, larger than the world, broader than all the giants that ever would exist, was both male and female. This creature was the ancestor of all the giants, and was named Ymir. Ymir was not the only living creature that originated from melting ice. A cow, even larger than Ymir, came to be. She was nourished by salty ice blocks and gave rise to 4 rivers of milk. With this milk, she fed Ymir. As he drank it, he grew, and with time, he called the cow Audamla. While Ymir was sleeping, he would often sweat. Under his left arm there grew a man and a woman, and from his legs 6-headed giants were born. These were first families of giants that would populate much of the world. Meanwhile, Audamla licked salty ice blocks, and one time, after a day of licking, she freed a man's hair from the ice. After 2 days, his head appeared. On the 3rd day, the whole man was there. His name was Buri, and he was tall, strong, and handsome. From frost giants, Buri took his wife and gave birth to a son whom they called Bor. Subsequently, Bor married a giant daughter named Besla and has 3 sons, Odin, Vili, and Ve. Odin, Vili, and Ve, the 3 sons of Bor, grew up and became adults. They grew up as they saw the distant lights of Muspelheim and darkness of Niflheim. However, in these places death was waiting for them. Brothers knew that they were stuck in Ginnungagap, an infinite gap between fire and ice. Life for them was not very different from death. In those days there was no world, no heavens, no earth. There was only an abyss itself, an empty space that waited until it was filled with life. And it was time to act. Where Willy and Odin looked at each other and began to think about what to do in the Ginnungagap. They talked about the universe, life, and the future. Time went by, and they made their mind. Odin, Willy, and Ve killed the giant Ymir in his sleep. This was the only way out, because there was no other way to create worlds. So it all began. It was death that made life possible. The blood flooded from the body of Ymir with an endless stream. Rivers of blood, salty like the sea and dark as an ocean, have poured and caused a flood so sudden, so powerful and deep that it washed away and killed almost all the giants. Only giant Bergelmir, the grandson of Ymir, and his wife were saved. They climbed onto a wooden lock that served them as a ship. All the giants we see and fear today originated from them. The sons of Bor then carried Ymir to the middle of Ginnungagap and made the world from him. From his blood they made the sea and the lakes. From the flesh of Ymir, Odin and his brothers created the earth. From his hair the trees, and from the bones laid mountains and rocks. All the stones, pebbles and sands that are present today are the teeth of Ymir and the fragments of his bones, broken and crushed by Odin, Vili and Ve during the battle with him. During this creation of land, maggots appeared in Ymir flesh. Brothers decided to make these basic creatures into human shape. By the decree of the gods, they acquired human understanding and the appearance of man, but still they preferred to live in earth and mountains, continuing to create underground tunnels and holes. Such was the creation of the dwarves. Then brothers continued their work. From Ymir's skull the sons of Bor made the sky and set it over the earth with its 4 sides. Under each corner they put a dwarf, whose names are Ostri, Vestri, Notri, and Sutri. Then they took the sparks and burning embers that are flying around after they have been blown up of Muspelheim, and placed them in the midst of Ginnungagap to give light to heavens above and earth beneath. To these stars they gave appointed places and paths so that one could navigate in the world. And the clouds that are visible in the sky were once the brain of Ymir that Odin, Vili and Ve flung into the air. The world was shaped so that earth would be surrounded by the deep sea. The sons of Bor gave lands near the sea to the families of giants for their settlements. Frost giants called this land Jotunheim, and those who lived there were known as Jotuns. But not all giants appreciated the slaying of Ymir and creation of this world, so they became hostile to our creators and creation. To prevent these aggressive giants from approaching too close, Odin, Vili and Ve surrounded the middle of the world with a wall that they made from the eyebrows of Ymir. This place was called Midgard. Next, they caused time to exist and placed the orbs of the sun and the moon in chariots, which were to circle around the sky. Midgard was empty. Local lands had a magnificent view, but no one walked in the meadows and did not fish in clear waters. No one was to conquer the mountain peaks or admire the clouds, as frost giants were shaping their own land of Jotunheim, and dwarves were busy with underground halls and all designing some place that Odin later called Nidavellir. Sons of Bor understood that the world without living beings is not the world that was imagined. They roamed everywhere in search of people, but they didn't find anyone. In the end, on a rocky shore near the sea, between the pebbles, brothers found 2 tree trunks that had washed up onto the beach, one of an ash tree and one of an elm tree. The gods took 2 logs and put them into the sand. Now they were of human heights. Odin gave the man and the woman shape, spirit and life. Vili gave them freedom, intelligence and determination. Now they could move and strive for something. Ve gave them a human face. He carved ears so they could hear, eyes to see, and lips to speak. Now, instead of 2 tree trunks on the shore, there were 2 naked people. One became a man, and the other a woman. The 3 brothers invented for man and woman clothes, so that they were covered and would not freeze. Finally, Odin, Vili, and Ve gave them names. They called the man Ask or Ash, and the woman Embla or Elm. So Ask and Embla were the father and mother of all mankind of Midgard. Embla and Ask began to live in Midgard under the protection of the wall that the gods erected from the eyelids of Ymir. Here they will later build their home, protected from giants, monsters and other threats that are waiting in distant lands. In Midgard, they will be able to calmly raise their children. To connect all the worlds, great tree Yggdrasil was planted at the center of the world. Its branches extend out over the entire world and reach out over the sky. In the sky, near the middle of the world, sons of Bor built for themselves a stronghold named Asgard and made a rainbow bridge called Bifrost that connected Midgard with Asgard. Gods and their kindred lived in Asgard and were called Aesir, and many memorable events have happened there. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope you like it. If you did, don't hesitate to share it with someone who you think would like to hear this myth. Let me know what you think about slaying of Ymir, the creation of the world. Come here again, we have a lot of stories to tell.